Come on, give me something I can sink my teeth into. Like Unity, Masons, and Aliens. Okay. Flashpoint at NRB. Unity, Masons, and Aliens. Alan Dildo and Eric Stackleback stab in the back. This is Didio, but it looks like Dildo, and I'm sticking with it. I don't care. So, if I may, yeah, you're welcome, Treva. I just, So, Unity, Masons, and Aliens. Okay, first of all, I am not an alien, but I am a Mason, for the record. Also, I think it's nice. Look at this. Context. Somebody put context out of this. Freemasonry. Encyclopedia Freemasonry, the teaching and practice of the secret fraternal order of free and accepted Masons, the largest worldwide secret society. Not a secret society. We're not a secret society. We're a society with secrets. It's different. Because if we were a secret society, you wouldn't know about us at all. You just don't know the stuff inside, because that's the point. Spread by the advance of the British Empire, remains most popular in the British. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, but apparently, devil worship, blah, blah, blah. Apparently, we're to blame for Lanny Walnuts' shitty toupee, I guess. That's it, yeah. I'm sorry.
Always good to talk to you. Too. Tell me what's the latest. I know you got a new TV program. Yeah. Talk about that. But you just got back from Israel. Talk about that.
Gene, big eye-opener to be there. Obviously, my first time there since the October 7th massacre. And two big takeaways, I think. Number one.
That's what I always say. I always follow up massacre with two big takeaways.
The people of Israel are resilient, Gene. I was struck by the unity and the purpose, the mission, and the attitude was, look, the Biden administration is against us. We're fighting with one arm tied behind our back. The UN, the EU, they're...
By the way, I like to remind everybody that the Genocide Joe crowd and those motherfuckers, this is how the right talks about this. This is the message that they're getting or putting out either way. One side, Joe is doing everything he can to destroy every Palestinian and wreck the chances of a Palestinian state and da-da-da-da, and he just wants to murder everyone. Although, again, I don't know how you drop 44,000 bombs on the most densely populated piece of real estate on Earth with, 2.4 million people in it and manage to only have 29,000 dead max, which is the Hamas number. And no matter what bomb goes off where, even after you send in messages to clear buildings, somehow, some way, it's always half kids, half children, always half children. It's almost as if the Hamas fighters take children with them and use them as human shields. Isn't it? That's weird. Anyways, never mind this dickhead. He'll get to the point, hopefully.
Pressuring us, but you know what? We're going to finish the job. We're going to see this through. We're fighting a demonic evil. We must finish the job.
And by the way, these assholes want Putin to be able to win in Ukraine at the same time. They don't give a fuck about Ukraine. The irony.
Defeat Hamas. Secondly, Gene, the north. While all this action is unfolding in Gaza to the south, to Israel's north along the Lebanon border, I'm sad to say that a major war is looming there against Hezbollah, another Iranian proxy, which is much more powerful.
It's looming. It is looming. That's the part. It's one thing, if it actually happens, but the looming part, that's what gets to me.
Than Hamas.
Absolutely.
So the other shoe's going to drop probably sooner rather than later. That's my two big takeaways.
So,
Hamas, Jesus Christ. Hezbollah has been attacking during this entire time, off and on. Israel has been retaliating off and on during this time. It's a pissing contest, and Iran doesn't want Hezbollah to go all in on it. That's the general scuttlebutt as far as the intel on the area. It's talking out of his ass.
Let's talk about Iran.
Yeah, let's talk about it, Gene, the Jesus machine.
Are you still seeing their involvement in all of this with Hezbollah?
No, they packed it up. Yeah, they decided after, planning for decades to control, militias as proxy through the idea, through the entire area, through the Middle East. They just decided after October 7th to just call it a day.
Absolutely, the hand behind it all, Gene. I call him the head of the snake, the Iranian regime in Tehran. Look, October 7th wouldn't have happened without Iran. That's number one. Number two, Hezbollah wouldn't exist without the Iranian regime. At least 150,000 rockets and missiles at their disposal, pointed at every inch of Israel, which, quick reminder for everyone, is the size of the state of New Jersey. But Iran is pulling the levers there, Gene, and if Iran says go, Hezbollah will go.
So they haven't said go yet. So is there a reason why, Mr. Intel on the ground, or let me guess, you were a journalistic tourist there for fucking the Kenneth Copeland network, and you just hung out with a bunch of the Israeli neocons?
So right now it's a tinderbox there on that Lebanon border.
Eric.
By the way, I was just saying, if a single bomb went off near a tinderbox, the whole box would go up.
It's surprising to me, but yet there's still a large contingency across America that thinks a two-state solution is really the answer. Do you believe that?
I don't. And Gene, it's interesting because it's completely tone deaf on the part of the Biden administration. We see Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, this so-called shuttle diplomacy back and forth to Israel. Europe, same deal. Completely out of touch with the reality on the ground in Israel. Gene, even is.
This is the current state of Christian media. I would also like to say they are shitting on the Biden administration for still attempting to, manage the possibility of a two-state solution. By the way, this video has 27,000 views. It's been up for 3 days, and they've got 681,000 subscribers. I am spitting in the wind dealing with some of these assholes, so please subscribe if you feel like it, and share the show and the like.
Israelis in the middle, even maybe leaning left right now, are not thinking about a Palestinian state in any shape, form whatsoever.
Yeah, they are. They're talking about largely a West Bank version, with Gaza being an occupied territory and then managed as people from the West Bank come over and kind of stabilize, and the Palestinian leadership step down, and that's what they've been trying to make actually happen. Adults. But that's not what we're talking about here.
So the West is completely out of touch on this, and I don't believe Netanyahu will ever agree to it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so I need to talk to you. Let's talk about your new program that's out on TBN. Explain what that is.
Stacklebeck Tonight, Gene.
Stacklebeck Tonight.
Stacklebeck Tonight. You won't forget.
That sounds great. It's weird. Stacklebeck Tonight. Is it on every night or just once?
Get that last name, but launching every Monday through Friday night on TBN. And, we had the Watchmen show weekly on TBN, Gene, for the past 8 years. So much is going on in the world. You're doing such a great job covering it here on Flashpoint, the Victory Channel. As you know, so much is going on. We said, we got to do this every night.
Yeah, we got it. We got it. I can't keep going back to Israel and listening to this bullshit. I don't even like the food.
We'll focus still. Israel, Middle East will be a big focus. China, Russia, all that kind of geopolitical stuff. But in America, which, Gene, again, you do such a great job covering, the stakes here. I mean, the stakes are high this year now more than ever. You and I were talking.
Yeah, Gene and everybody, they go out for steaks every night, talking about how the country sucks right now and that the Ukrainians have it too good. And yeah.
Off camera.
Sure.
Hey, it's do or die 2024. This is the time. So we felt like this was the time to launch this new program.
All right, so what time will it be on?
7:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. Eastern time, Monday through Friday, every night.
All right, so there you go. And, here's the thing. A lot of people, it was actually at NRB where we found out TBN was launching Centerpoint. And, people say, oh, does that upset you? And we're like, no, we don't. Everybody needs to come together. It's a big job. We all have to work.
Oh, he's getting bumped out of his time slot. Oh, I wish there was one of those. I need one of those industry insider newspapers where we can read about the goings-on behind Flashpoint. Okay, I don't need to listen to this dickhead go through this whole thing. I don't know who he is. That's Tim Barton from Wall Builders. Does he build wheels too?
Praying in the snow at Valley Forge. True? Untrue?
That is not true. So there was accounts that came out after Washington's death.
Wait.
The best to you, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Well, I heard this week on the news that there's debate now that I've never heard before that George Washington there's no record of him ever praying in the snow at Valley Forge. True? Untrue?
That is not true. So there was accounts that came out after Washington's death where there was a Quaker, his name was Isaac Potts, that he'd seen Washington kneeling in the snow. And the two accounts that came out, one, Isaac Potts was a...
Oh, okay, also, who gives a rat fuck? It's about a painting of him kneeling in the snow, so people are supposedly debating this, and this guy, no, it really happened. First of all, of course he prayed all the time.
loyalist, and one he was a patriot. And so the two accounts are slightly different, but basically the same story. That he was walking to his house one day, heard somebody out in the woods, wanted to go in.
Hey, who's the guy with the wooden teeth over there praying with one knee in the snow? You're gonna get your knickers all damp.
Investigate, it's wartime, he didn't know who it was, and he saw it was the commander of the American forces praying. He stayed and listened to the prayer for a little bit. He gets up, goes back to his house. When he gets to his house, this is where the account mostly differs. The one where he's a patriot, he goes in rejoicing and tells his wife, "It's over, the war's over, it's over." And she says, "What are you talking about?" He says, "We're going to win the war." And she says, "What do you mean?" He said, "I just saw the commander of the American forces praying. When a man prays like that, his prayers are going to be answered. This war is over, it's over."
That's a very weird thing to say. I think that sounds like a story that came along in the 20s.
It's all over. Well, the second account, he's a loyalist.
The 1920s, I should specify, because there was another 20s between.
And he goes in and he's very distraught. He says, "It's over. It's all over." And the same scenario, but one is
fucking, and that's journalism for you. Fake news. Fake news. All right, get to the masonry stuff. Oh, look, there's Lanny Walnuts.
So the Isaac Potts story, which really became the famous Washington kneeling in prayer, that's where
blah 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 blah.
It's not rooted in historic documents.
Blah 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 blah.
Have always had an influence historically in the country, but the nature of the Masonic teaching or involvement, I think, has been
check yourself, asshole.
Been exaggerated or misunderstood.
Mm-hmm.
Bullshit.
By a lot of 21st century Pentecostals who are looking at human sacrifice, etc., as being what's done. I remember.
Yeah, there's no human sacrifice. I mean, obviously, I guess technically if it was a secret, I wouldn't be able to tell you anyways, but I'm not allowed to lie about it. I'm just allowed to not say anything.
My dad was a Mason, and part of my evangelism strategy was to expose his Satanism, and he thought I lost my mind. That's when I
yeah. I'm sure.
Realized maybe I'm not getting the best theology from Jack Chick. Yeah. But Finney certainly refused to be a Mason after you looked at the whole business of secret oaths and stuff. But it's worth going there. I mean, we're not trying to put rose-colored glasses on about the origin of our nation. There was a Masonic influence, but what could you tell us about that, or what do you know about it in terms of what?
Oh boy. You can just feel me getting wound up. Yeah, they're shitting it. Let me explain something to you. There's been a strategy to shit on Masonry since the mid-'70s, specifically. I mean, it went back before that, largely in the 60s, as you had people trying to sort of, you like radical anti-society activists who were like, we need to tear the whole dirty thing down. And they've been attacking Masonry ever since, because the idea is that, Masonry can't make bad men good, but it makes good men better. And men need, I think, ethical structure in a way that women don't necessarily. The idea is that the reason why there's not Masonry is not, doesn't exclude women, it's for men, because women don't need it. Women are matured by their biology, by the coming of their period, their ability to have children, the limited window by which they can have children safely, the loss of that ability, and sort of the arc of life and social structure in that. There's a lot, right, that automatically does it. A man can make a baby from the time he first ejaculates to when he's keels over at 90, and that kind of randomness in our ability needs a little guidance, as it were, a little more uniform guidance, So Masonry's been around specifically for that reason, right? Because men, we need more, corralling than the ladies do. There you go. So if that just helps, this is generalization. And the other reason why they hate it is because it is secular. It is, while it is, you have to believe in in something beyond this life. It's pretty broad in what you can believe. You can be a universalist and a deist, or you can be a Muslim or a Christian or a Jew or a Buddhist or whatever. But the idea is that you believe there's something beyond this life. That's kind of the only prerequisite. And the interesting thing is that inside the lodge, you can't discuss religion and politics. You're not allowed to. It's that lesson of put that shit outside and come together as humans. And the other thing too is you'll see a lot of skull imagery in Masonry. And one of the reasons you'll see skull imagery is because if you lift up someone's skull after they're dead, you can't tell whether they were conservative or a liberal or any of that kind of stuff. The only thing you'll have left over from that you'll know from this skull is the person's name and what they did during their life, the meaningful positive things they did or the damage they did. That's what it sticks around. Not, you can't just look at the skull and tell if somebody was bad, right? If you know who the person was, then you know their character, and the character is what outlives you more than your bones, is the point. So your character is more important than your bones, but we're all the same because we're all going to be a pile of bones one day. And there's a respect for that, right? Okay, so that in general, that's where the root of why it was necessary and why it was actually very helpful for society. There's a reason why, though, the Alex Joneses of the world and these dickheads try to tear it down, because the idea of religious pluralism and respect for it and democracy is antithetical to the type of monarchical belief system that these assholes have. And then, of course, the anti-democratic stuff that the maggots have, and the sort of sovereign citizen bullshit, and I would say faux sovereign citizen bullshit that you see from Alex Jones's crowd, right? That it's this God-given right to not give a fuck, whatever, that kind of idea. And they hate the idea that Masonry used to just prove that men that had differences of opinion could still sit peacefully across from each other and share a meal